In the last episode of Pixar's Adventure Park, we finally finished off the Cars ride. We expanded and finished the desert, adding in some nature and more rocks, and we also added the iconic Willie's boot from the movies. Hello everyone and welcome to Pixar's Adventure Park, episode 11. This is the last episode of Cars Land, which is kind of sad, but I'm kind of excited to finally move on. Now, I have done just a little bit of work off camera, which I'll quickly show you, and that is just replacing all the old trees with the new trees, because honestly, they look so much better. And before we continue with this episode, I have a quick announcement. You may have noticed that I haven't uploaded it in like a while. And that is because I was busy with schoolwork, which I'm now finished, which means I'm going to be uploading twice a week. This means I'm going to upload once on a Saturday, uploading a Pixar Adventure Park episode, and once on a Wednesday, uploading something else Theme Park Tycoon 2 related. And now, because I have more time, it means I'm able to get videos out earlier, so I would recommend buying the membership if you're interested. Not only does this give you shoutouts at the end of all of my videos, but it gives you early access to future videos, which also includes the next area in Pixar's Adventure Park. If you do buy it, it's greatly appreciated, and I think it's time to get back into the video. The plan for this episode is I'm going to add a couple more little things to the Radiator Springs races ride, which also includes finishing off this little tunnel in here. I'm going to also be finishing off the main road, adding things like the traffic lights and some electricity poles and just some extra benches and trash cans and stuff like that. I'm also going to be fixing up Luigi's a little bit because there's a couple lighting effects that I forgot to add in, and I'd also like to add a couple characters around the land. So with that said, let's get started. Before we do anything too big, I quickly want to just grab these custom cactuses that I made and put these more around the park. I can add some into Luigi's just here like that. Maybe even add some in here next to Flo's. Now the next thing I want to do is add something into this area of the Cars Land ride, and I think I have the perfect idea. This may be a bit difficult, but let's give it a go. Now, the idea I had for this is I want to build the tractors that you see in the movie. So let's get started on that. Building this tractor took so much longer than I expected because of the issue with too many parts in one area. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, but it's a lot more simplified than what I would have liked it to be. But honestly, I think it still looks pretty good. I'll be honest, I think this little guy is done. 111 items. How much does it cost to place? $11,000. I'm pretty happy with how this looks. So let's go place this bad boy around this little desert area a couple times. Too many items here. You've got to be kidding me. Place one down here. Place a couple of these guys in the middle. And you know what? We'll even make one that has fallen over like this. Just like in the movies. Okay. Sick. Okay, I got it. There we go. Wonder if you'll be able to even see them much in the POV. Yeah, you can see them pretty well, actually. That's awesome. I love that. How long did it take to build that? Maybe 30 minutes? That's pretty good. You know what? While I'm building characters, I think we should get into the two main characters I'm going to have around the land. That being Lightning McQueen and Mater. I think I'm going to start with Mater because I feel like he is going to be a lot easier to do. So I'm going to just try and do him in pieces. I think that will probably be the best way to go about it. Now, I'll be honest, at first I thought it was going to be really difficult to build Mater, but I think I did pretty well. I think one of the best parts about him are his eyes, because it just makes the whole thing look so much like Mater. But overall, I think the textures and everything looks really good. I'm pretty damn happy with this build. It is Mater finished. This is $1,000, and honestly, I think it looks very nice. The only thing is, I don't really know where to put him. I'm gonna chuck him actually up the front here. I think might look nice. There we go. That works. Now, the last character I want to build is going to be Lightning McQueen, which I am really scared about because he is very smooth and detailed. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. Now, I was honestly most scared of building Lightning McQueen because he's got a very smooth and round shape, which is difficult to make using blocks. And I think you can easily see how I struggle with this as well. Another thing I found difficult was making his body art because everything's curved. You can't really just use image panels. You kind of have to make them all. But I think in the end, I turned out with something that was all right. It wasn't good as Mater or the tractor, but I think it was still pretty good. Alright, it has been legit a couple hours working on Lightning McQueen, but I am at a point that I'm pretty happy with. I mean, it's not as good as Mater's. Mater's is just like lovely, but yeah, I think this is the best I could have done for Lightning McQueen. The most difficult part was trying to get like all the body art on him, I guess you'd call it, because it's like they're all decals, so trying to make those with 3D blocks is very difficult, but you know what, it'll work. What we'll do as well is we'll just move him and we'll put him down at the end of the street here as well, next to Mater. So if people want to get photos or anything like that, they can do that. Might put him right there. Put Mater just here as well, I think would be good. Just like that. Awesome. Now that we've got these two characters made, I can make the inside of the cave. So let's get started with that. So the first thing I'm going to do is just get some freaking lights in here because it is so dark. But now I'm just going to use the light orb just because we just need it temporarily. Now we'll grab Lightning McQueen and we'll bring him inside. Now while I'm adding him, I'll tell you the kind of idea I have for this room. It's pretty much going to be the same as the ride as you come in and they're going to have Lightning McQueen here. Or I think in the ride it's Doc Hudson and he's coaching you through the race, which is what he's going to be doing here is the kind of idea. I'm also going to add Mater into here as well because why not? Everyone loves Mater. Put Mater right there, just like that. Now the idea I have for this cave is that it's just going to be some random little hideout spot for Lightning McQueen. It'll have a couple trophies. Kind of like the Doc Hudson shed from the first movie. That's sort of what I want to get with this area. But what I need to do is add in some torches just for some nice little light. I'm just going to add these basic torches. I don't really care enough to make my own for this little room. These will work completely fine. On the ceiling here, I'm going to add in some, I don't know what you call these little metal supports like that. And on these, we can add the ceiling lights. I'll probably make this back half of the cave pretty dark. Only have these two characters lit here, I think is a good idea. So now what I really need to do is just add rocks to this back half. Something simple just like that I think will work nicely. Honestly, just going to keep this room pretty chilled, but nothing too crazy. Keep it nice and simple. What I can do here as well on Mater's only working light is add in a little light orb. Now, I got lots of comments talking about how this whole desert feels very empty, and I get what they mean, but I also kind of think it should be empty because it is a desert. There's nothing in a desert, you know? So what I'm going to try and do is just add a couple more little piles of rocks like I did here, and hopefully that might make it seem a little better. I'm going to honestly leave some of this because I want to work on this a little bit while I'm live, so I'll do that a little later. But now I think something that would be good to work on will be the street lights that you can see here. So let's get started on those. Now what I'm going to do is make the street lights, which are very simple. They are just a very tall wooden pole, maybe about this height. On the top of them, they've got another little wooden pole like this. Something simple like that will work nicely. Next, what I'll do is make the actual lights from these poles. They weirdly go in like that, and then around about here is where the light is. And what I'm going to do is use a bell for the lights because why not? And just like that, we have got a little lights done. Now for this, I'm going to just set to default and I'm going to go all the way down the street. You know what, I'm going to move these to the other side because I think it might look a little nicer. Very simple like that. Let's set this to night just to see how this looks. Very nice to add a little bit of light, but not too much, which is exactly what we want. Now what I'm making is the iconic traffic light, of course. This is honestly a little weird as well how they've done this. Instead of having the traffic lights normally just like on a pole here, they have it like hanging from a wire. It's really weird, but that's fine. Now we need to make the traffic light itself. So I'm thinking something this big might look alright. So what we need to do next is just we'll get the light orbs and of course make them their correct colors. Now, of course, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to have it be blinking as in the movies, and every third blink is going to be a little bit slower than the rest. I'm going to now paint this the yellow color as well. I'm now going to attach this into the middle here. There we go. It's a bit big, but honestly it's fine. And the next thing I'm going to do, because I want to get the blinking lights, I need to get a sequencer. I'm going to have to hide this somewhere. Now we gotta create the effect. There we go. Okay, that took a while to get working, but now it works nicely. The next thing we need to do is just make it work with all of these lights. So I'm gonna go quickly do that and I'll be right back with you. That honestly was a little quicker than I thought it would take, but we now got them all working. Every third blink is a little slower. I call Pookie baking with this land. Now that we got that done, the next thing I think I want to do is work on the ride signs. So of course we're going to need to make one for the racing ride, make one for the twister ride, and make one for Luigi's tires. Now I'm not going to show you me making these because it's quite boring. It's just a bit of Photoshop work, but I'll show you the final results just like that. Make that transparent. That looks pretty nice. I think I just got to add some light to this. And what I might also do is just for a little bit of 3D is just come forward and paste a bunch. Now it's a very subtle effect, but I think it just adds just a little bit. Another thing I want to do is get some neon lights and start placing these out here just like that. We'll make these red just like that. What I think I might do is just push these into the wall a little more, just something like that, and then we'll put one down below like that, and that should hopefully fit pretty nicely. There we go. That looks a lot better. Now, the next thing I need to do is make 3 more of these. The first one, we want this to be green. The second one is just white. And the third one is, yet again, red. We'll copy that over to the other side. And then the last thing I got to do is just fix these up so it's not going inside of the text. I'll delete these red ones here. And that looks pretty nice in my opinion. What I'm also might do is just grab a spotlight and put it inside of these tires here, just like that, to light up that sign a bit. Looks really nice. So the next thing I want to do is work on the sort of like ride information sign. So let's get started with that. So for this, I'm going to make something very simple. It's going to have 2 tires at the bottom like this. Then around about here, I have like a little support made of rock. Above this, I'm going to put a cylinder that is super skinny like this. I'll stack these up maybe 3 times like that. And these I'm going to make a wooden color. The sign will be about this tall. Now all we have to do is just add some sort of just like basic plank in the middle. Something like that I think looks really nice. And I think something simple like this will be good, not only for Luigi's tires, but just for every other ride in this area. So now what I'm going to do is group this, and I'm going to put it in place around about here. Now that we got this made and put in place, all I need to do is make the image. So I'll be right back. I now have the ride sign, so let's put that in place and see how it looks, and it should fit perfectly. There we go. That looks very nice. I kind of just use ChatGPT for this, so you can read it if you want, but it's nothing important. And I think that will work for the signs for Luigi's, which means the next ride we got to work on is this ride here, and we're going to make the main sign and then the supporting ride information sign. Now the next sign we're going to do is the sign for the main attraction of the land, and I have yet to reveal the name of the ride yet, so let's do that right now. So now if I add in the code, you will see I decided to call it Lightning McQueen's speed test. One thing I need to do though is quickly just make somewhere for this sign to sit. I think adding the planks texture looks quite nice in there, so we'll do that. Next little thing I'll add onto this sign is just some little supports that the sign is going to be hanging from, which of course have to be metal. So now I've got that in place, the next thing I need to add is this sign here, which I'm going to quickly make, so I'll be right back again. I now have this sign done, so I'll quickly put it in. Oh, okay, so that's gonna be a bit of an issue just there. Let me quickly fix this. Okay, and now we'll put this in, and that should fix it, hopefully. There we go, that works nicely. I'm honestly really happy with this one as well. I think it looks really nice. And of course, I use ChatGPT for this again, so if you want to read that, feel free. So I've got the basic signs up now. I'm going to do the last ride of the area, which I think I want to call Fillmore's Spinning. I think that would be a pretty cool name. So let's get started with that. All right, so I have now got these two signs in, so let's put them into place. The first one, we will do this sign here. Oh, there it is. It looks quite nice. That looks really nice. I'm happy with that. And then the next one we'll do is the main and biggest sign, transparency. That looks good. It's just I need to move it back a little bit. There we go. I've just added the 3D effect onto the text, and I think it makes it look really nice. Now that I've got all of the ride signs in place, the next things I want to do are these sort of signs. So I'll need to do Cozy Cone Hotel, Sarge's Surplus Hut, and Ramon's Body Art, I think it's called. So let's get started on that right now. I have now gone ahead and made all of the signs, which took so much longer than I expected. But now all we have to do is put them into place. So let's do that. We will start over here with Sarge's Surplus Hut. Oh man, that looks good. So next what we'll do is the Cozy Cone Motel. For this one I had to make two because it was too tall. Put in the top one. There we go. That looks nice enough. Then we will do this bottom one, which I'm going to need to bring forward. There we go. And that is the Cozy Cone Motel sign done. It looks quite nice. And the last sign we need to do is just Ramon's. Oh, there we go. It's looking nice. Now what I'm going to do with Ramon's is just copy it and put it on every side, because why not? I can't even lie, now with all the signs in place, it's looking pretty cool. I really like the Surplus Hut one as well. Well, now that we got this done, I think one thing I really want to do is do all of the lighting from the movies. As you know, there's the scene where it gets dark and all the lights come on and it looks amazing. So that means we're going to have to put a lot of lights around.
10 years later.
Now, since you last saw me, I kind of have gone ahead and done all the lighting for the area, and you can probably already see some certain lighting effects in play, but let me just show you what this looks like at night. So yeah, I really just went ahead and did pretty much all of the lighting in the area, and I think it looks pretty cool. So of course we got the Flo's V8 Cafe lighting. I did some blue lights around the gas station and around the main building. Also added some purple highlights here. I also added these little things. I don't know what they are, but they look pretty nice. Over here at Sarge's, I made this cool little, like, I don't know what you call it, lights animation. Looks pretty nice. At Fillmore's, I added all these sort of like, what do you call these, Christmas lights or fairy lights, I guess. I also colored them to the right colors, and honestly, this looks really cool. Especially if you're just on the ride as well. It just looks so nice. At the Cozy Cone, I added some basic little lights. I tried to make a little light effect where it like flashes up, but kind of doesn't really work. You can barely see it. At Luigi's, I just added some more basic lights, and then on the ride, I added a heap more fairy lights, which looks really nice. And finally, at Ramon's, I just added some green and purple lights sign. I also added some spotlights put on it, and I think that looks really nice. Not only that, but I was playing around with the generic lights, so it's all pretty well lit now for the most part, I think. I also added lights to this sign as well, nothing special. But I think for now, all the night lights are done, and I'm honestly really happy with how some of these turned out. Another basic thing I did was I just lit up the ride using some like more ambient lights, and I think this looks really nice. I used some more purplish and pink colors just to add a bit of gradients around with the lighting, and honestly it looks pretty sick. But now that I've got all the lighting done, I think one of the last things I want to work on is this sort of middle area, because it honestly feels like really empty. So I just need to add some stuff into there. My plan for this is to honestly just add some more benches. What I also might make is just like a custom little trash can as well. Something basic like that I think will work nicely. So now what I'm going to just do is copy these just around, in hopes that it kind of fills out this middle area just a little more. And now that I've got all these seats and chairs in place, it's looking a lot better. I'm now just struggling to think of what else I could add to this area, really. It's feeling like it's quite complete at this point, which It took ages to get to this stage, but I mean, it looks pretty cool. If you have any ideas of what I can add, maybe leave them in the comments down below. Even though this is the last episode of Carson, I can still add things in maybe later on. Now, once I finish the park, I'm already planning on coming back into the Monstropolis area and changing some different things up. But I think for now that Cars Land is complete. Actually, no, it is not. We have one final image we need to put in. So the final thing we need to do is just add in the Cars Land image here, and then I think we're done. So I'm gonna quickly go make that and I'll be right back. And hopefully this shouldn't look too bad. It was difficult to find good quality images. That works quite nicely, I'm not gonna lie. And with that put in, I think we have, for now, officially completed Cars Land. It's honestly been insane how long this took, and it's insane how many people are watching this series at this point in time. It's legit crazy. Thanks everyone for watching me build Cars Land, but don't go anywhere just yet, because we have more lands to build. In the next episode, we are going to expand on to this mini land that would be around about here. Although I'm not going to tell you what it is, I'll give you a bit of a hint in a couple seconds. But I'll see you in my next video, which is teaching my dog how to play Theme Park Tycoon 2. So make sure you check that out. It should be coming out on Wednesday. And I'll see you next time in Pixar's Adventure Park. Bye!